Hey, yo, what up? What's good? What's good? Shout out to the good people out there. Shout out to the night shift. Shout out to the overtime crew. Shout out to the swing shift. Shout out to everybody on Memorial Day weekend. I don't know when I'm going to put this out, but shout out to all the veterans out there. Those that made it and those that did not. As y'all know, I'm a veteran. And I support all veterans getting theirs because I do what? I believe in getting all mines. Absolutely, I believe in getting all mines. I seen this one guy on YouTube. I seen a video of him. He was basically trying to pit veterans against veterans. He did a video talking about how one veteran is getting all these benefits that he earned, and he was trying to paint the picture as if this is somehow wrong. That this veteran who went to Iraq and Afghanistan, that it was somehow wrong for him to own a truck and for him to have a house and for him to have his compensation, his pension and stuff. Just real sleazeball dirtbag shit. You get what I'm saying? It's just unbelievable. And I had ran into that when I was in college. I had this one guy when I was in college. He said something. He said, you veterans, man, y'all get everything. And I heard that. And a lot of people didn't know I was a veteran. Because when I went to college, I actually hid my status. All right. Because I went to a military college when I first started out. Then I transferred to a regular college. And then I transferred back to a military college. But when I went to the regular college, nobody didn't know I was in the military because I was in the reserves at that time and they didn't know. And I kept it to myself. And a lot of them was like, he said that. And I said, what you said? He said, them veterans, man, they get everything. It never left my mind when he said that. And I just looked at him and I just smiled. I said, wow. I just said, that's what I put my life on the line for right there. For you to have the right to say something so stupid. But you know what? He got the right to say it. And, shout out to him for saying it. So shout out to everybody on Memorial Day weekend. All right. But anyway, it's me. It's your man, Alpha the First One. The YouTube page is A11 E-Ways Dating Tips by A11 or E-Ways Dating Tips by Alpha the First One. Or you might find me on something called A11 Media Productions. As y'all know, I do multiple YouTube pages. I have multiple content. I do renovations. I do muscle cars. I do e-waste. That's why I got this nice, lovely e-waste art you're looking at. That's a watch that I made. I made a sundial. If you look in the corner there, that's a sundial. And if y'all look at my video where I say, here you go, trolls, this is Alpha the First One. Look at that video. I got it all on. So you can take a look at nice, lovely e-waste art. And if you're new to my channel, I'm a really unorthodox speaker. I go off the dome. It's not scripted. And I usually talk about things that pop up on my radar that kind of deals with my book. If y'all didn't know, I wrote a book about dating and mating as a system. Two competing systems in the world, like capitalism versus communism. No, it's not a system about getting a hookup, okay? Or finding your dream man, ladies. It's a system, it's a philosophical theory about a dating system that we are doing as human beings. That we're engaging in a natural dating system or man-regulated dating system. That's all it is. Natural is unregulated. Man's is regulated. That's all it is. I've said the name of my book multiple times. I won't do it on here because I'm about to do a whole series on my exact book, meaning just everything in my book. I'm going to do an outline video series on it. That's it. But this topic tonight is a good topic because it kind of goes in line with what I talked about in my book. And it's what? There was a flip. The flip. There was a flip. There was a flip that happened in society. And so the topic of tonight is what? Husband material versus wife material, the flip. Yeah, this is a very, very cool topic. All right, because it's starting to pop up. I seen something in the news where they were talking about a lot of women now. You know, our lovely TikTok girls. Shout out to the TikTok thoughts as they call them. Our lovely TikTok girls are arguing on TikTok again. This time they're arguing about modesty. Yeah, they're arguing about modesty. They're saying that modesty is oppressive. There are some women, we've had the trad wife influence, the e-girl influence. Shout out to the e-girls. I like e-girls. They're pretty cool. And we've had the trad wife influencers, the fake trad wives, you know. Go look at my video on the fake Victorian women. Go look that up. I've already broke that down. And now we have a problem with the modesty. And before I go on, I apologize, y'all. Once again, I have allergies. If y'all hear me sniffling, snorting, or uh, having difficulty talking, it's because it's springtime in Southern California. My apple tree is booming right now with pollen. And the pine trees are starting to get us now. You know, that yellow pine, that yellow pollen. And shout out to everybody in Georgia. They know what I'm talking about. But I'm a human being. I'm not AI. I'm a real person, and that's one of the things I have to battle with, allergies. So, I'm 6'6", but that's my kryptonite, pollen. I'm the real life black Captain America. I just didn't take the super soldier serum. I came out 6'6". I didn't have to get a machine. And shout out to that brother. Shout out to the white guy who played Captain America. I love that brother. Shout out to that white brother. He all right with me. So but the bottom line is the women are now complaining about modesty. And I seen this and I said, wow, this is a very interesting one. I spent the whole day listening to it, but they are complaining that the women who want to be modest are promoting oppression. That's what they said. That's what they're saying. And shout out to a YouTuber called Chizza Zed. Chizza Zed. Shout out to that brother. He did a story on. That's where I first seen it from him. So I'll give him credit for that. And I think I seen something from O'Shea Duke Jackson. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson, the Negro Manosphere creator. Shout out to that brother. Negro Manosphere, not Black Manosphere, Negro. Shout out to O'Shea. But he's one of the original founders of the Black Manosphere. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. I ain't got nothing against none of them brothers. But I've seen stories of that on their channels. And essentially, there's a lot of people there's a lot of women very upset with modest women now. And naturally speaking, when you start talking about modest women, you're going to run into the religion of Islam. Shout out to all my Muslims out there. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, a lot of them out, and Jewish. Shout out to the Jewish people, and shout out to I want to call it traditional Christians, the Mennonites and Amish and things, because they kind of go into that too, modesty. And the TikTok girls are saying, hey, look, this modesty stuff, if this stuff catches on, this is going to be oppression on women. That's what they're saying. They are, you go online and check it out. They are sounding the bell. They are ringing the alarm. Hey, this modesty stuff, and they're tying it in with the trad wife movement. And obviously they're tying it in with Donald Trump, Shout out to Trump, So they're tying it in with all of that. And they're saying this is where it's going. This is what's going to happen if we don't stop this right now. We got to stop this modesty movement. And I heard one girl, she finally figured it out. And that's why I wanted to talk about it. Because she said, see, we went to Trump. They always dogging Trump, right? Say well, she said we lost Roe. After we lost Roe, Roe v. Wade, we got Trump again. After Trump took what? DEI away. Then from DEI, he took away the college degrees that are not professionals, and they're not professional degrees. They are what they are. I'm getting a professional degree right now. They're not. Okay, they're not writing dissertations. All right, they're not writing a thesis and they're not learning how to do it. All they're doing is learning how to take notes as far as nurses and things like that. He said, see, he's attacking women educating. That's why they're getting rid of the Department of Education. Then they're going after access to, birth control. They got a new case in the Supreme Court about that. Then she said, now you got trad wives. See how it go? She was just walking it down. I was like, you know what? I never thought about that. And she's right. She said, now we got a modesty movement. Now they're pushing modesty. And this girl was, she pretty much looked blown out. This girl had green hair and I don't know how many nose rings and earrings and tattoos. And she was like, if this keeps going, and this what got me. This is what got my ear. She said, if this keeps going, they're going to bring back purity culture. Boom. That's what caught my ear. Because when she said that, that told me this woman understands the logic of regulated dating and mating. She already understands it. She got it. She got it. And she's absolutely right. If you study history like I did, every society on this planet, it always moves in that direction. Every time. Every time it goes in that direction. They start out doing natural stuff. They get the bad results. People start complaining. Society starts losing. They start bringing in rules and regulations. Boom, you get to where you are. SPG. That's how the SPG forms every time. SPG meaning what? Security of resources first, not genetics. SPG is regulated. Rules and regulations. Suppression on who? Primarily women's sexual agency. If YouTube gonna ban me, so be it. I'm speaking in educated terminology. This is well known. People write theses on these, doctrines on these. This is studied in women's gender study all over the world. I'm speaking in educated tones. AI, if you're gonna ban me, do it now because I can't dumb this down. I cannot dumb this concept down. Women's sexual agency is one of the key factors, and many authors have written about it being, some have said is a key factor, some have said it is the factor that destroys civilized society. This is well documented. So if the AI is gonna ban me, you gotta do it now. Because I can't dumb this down. But essentially that's what the whole scare about being modest is all about. See? Because when you start being modest, what are you becoming? Wife material. See that? So you see how that works? Husband material versus wife material. Now we got to talk about this because in our current society, and a lot of men know this, this is why I keep saying what? Men and women are different. Men and women are not the same. Men and women are not equal. And we don't have equal standards that are neutral and universal to one another. We don't have that. It doesn't work. This is a good example. Husband material versus wife material. See, before the sexual revolution, those two things was what most people measured relationships off of. That was regulated dating and mating. That was the SPG. S being security of resources first. A man had to show that he had security of resources in order for him to get a mate. That was the rules before the sexual revolution. Johnny couldn't just walk up and be like, hey, he got a white tee on with a gold chain. I'm here to, you know, you see what I'm saying? And we're not saying that they didn't break those rules. Obviously, clearly they were, but they were in place. See, people always try to use that to try to undercut something. Well, everybody wasn't doing it. Yeah, but they were expected to do it. You get it? It was on the books. It was official. Just because people didn't want to do it don't mean they was not required to do it. That doesn't discredit what was expected. You get it? They try to act like that's some kind of uno to undo what was going on. No, it was understood that Johnny had to present resources. He had to do it. He couldn't walk up, Jack and Jill. Jack couldn't walk up to Jill and be like, "What up, Shawty? What's happening? Let me get that phone number. I want to get the dish. I want to cut something." You know what I'm saying? He couldn't do that. He had to do what? He was doing what? Courting. Courting. Look that word up. Courting is not the same as dating. Courting was based on rules and regulations, and in order to court, you have to present yourself as what? Husband material. See, I had a woman I was talking to online about 4 months ago. It was like in January. And she was talking about this. I stumbled upon her page, and I should have saved her page, but she was talking about this very thing of courtship versus dating. And I think I told y'all about this. I may have, but I asked her a question. I said, now that you see the results of dating, would you like to go back to courting? Yeah, I did tell y'all this story. And she said, no, I don't want to go back to courting. And I asked her, I said, why not? She said, because I don't like courting because I'm expected to be a certain way. I'm expected to present myself a certain way. I'm expected to be wife material. See what I'm saying? And the man was expected to be husband material. But after the sexual revolution, that flip. That's the flip. There's something flip. I'm going to tell you about the flip. See, so it was a positive thing for a man to present himself as husband material. It was good. Hey, Jack got a job. Jack is no felonies. Jack ain't got 3 or 4 baby mamas. He ain't living with his mama. You understand what I'm saying? He was husband material. Now, what was Jill? Jill was expected to be what? Wife material. What is wife material? Number 1, virgin bride. Look that up. She was expected to be what? Modest. 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 And she was expected to be what? Somewhat religious. That's why I talked about the Islam and Jewish. You can't talk about the word modesty and don't run into religion. Because most of those religions require what? Women to be what? Dress modest. What is dressing modest? Covering up. You can't. They not doing WAP. Go watch the. Shout out to them girls, by the way. Nicki Minaj. What is it? Cardi B and Meg the Stallion. Meg the male horse. Go watch them two WAP. Before the flip happened, you was not dressing up like WAP. Okay. Okay. It just didn't happen like that. You had a dress, but your ankles was being shown. You see what I'm saying? You didn't have on a mini skirt and see through. Shout out to that pastor Jamal. What his name? Jamal Bryan. I think that's his. He went to his wife. He's a pastor, well known pastor. His wife showed up at an event butt ass naked. Pastor Jamal Bryan. Shout out to that pastor. His wife showed up to an event butt ass naked. It was a fundraising event. Y'all, I'm terrible. I'm terrible. He's a pastor, and his wife showed up butt naked to a fundraiser event. You know, it was basically a script club, jazzy, Magic City, Jazzy Tees, Scrokers, in Atlanta. Come on, y'all. That's terrible. But it's going to happen. She had no modesty, but she was getting that bread. I think they raised $1 million that night. I don't know if they were throwing ones at his wife, but hey, it is what it is. Shout out to Pastor Jamal Bryan. He got that meal. And he talked about that when they criticized. He said, I bet nobody was mad when I raised that $1 million with my naked wife. And hey, everybody got quiet. So the girl was expected to be wife material, and modesty was a part of that. If Jack showed up, the courtship, and the girl came out in a slip dress and WAP gear on, Jack probably ran out the house. Hell no, I'm not taking that deal, Shit. Because back then, if a girl didn't dress modest, what do they used to call her? And some of my old Gen Xers know this. I know y'all boomers know this. But some millennials kind of don't. I'm a millennial. Some millennials don't know this. I find that interesting. Some millennials don't know this. They don't. And I'm an older millennial. But a lot of millennials, even my age, they don't know this. Because for the most part, for millennials, marriage was pretty much done by the time I came out. I didn't see anybody. I didn't grow up with anybody being married. Nobody. Seriously. I never seen a real marriage in my entire life. The closest I seen was my sister and my brother-in-law, and they got a divorce. And that really wasn't like a marriage to me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really see that growing up. So, but what do they used to say to women who would dress like that? They would say what? She's looking fast. F-A-S-T. She's dressing fast. She must be a fast girl. That's an old statement. Look that up. Fast. She looks fast. F-A-S-T. Not fat. Fast. They got girls look fat, but fast. She's dressing fast. That's an old Southern term. She fast. She fast in the ass. That's what they used to say down south. She a fast girl. Yeah, she kind of fast. So this modesty scare that the TikTok girls are going through, I got to give them credit. They have some validity to their concerns. Absolutely, because if women are now look at the situation. If women are going to start pushing trad wife, and then women are going to start pushing modesty, right? And men are already saying, hey, these body counts is out of control. Men have been pushing that. I got to give men credit for that. All right. Men have been the number one gender pushing restriction on women's body count. Hey, body counts are too high. Men been pushing that. I'll give men credit for that. Naturally speaking, she was right. Purity culture will pop up. And if you think I'm lying, 2 years ago, Planned Parenthood, they did a commercial with a really large black woman. A really large black woman with a big pink sweater on. And they got a lot of backlash. They got a lot of backlash for that commercial. They ran a video saying virginity is nothing. It's a myth. It's oppression. There's no such thing as virginity. They did a whole bunch of stuff on that, and the religious community came out against her. Many conservative groups came out against them. It was a pretty bad backlash. Look that up. So the whole scare of purity culture being pushed next, that's valid. I'll give them that. That is definitely a valid, logical conclusion when you look at trad wife, now modesty. Next might be, it might be that. So the question is, if husband material was a good thing before the sexual revolution, and wife material was a good thing before the sexual revolution, when what is the flip? What is the flip that I'm talking about? Okay, here's the flip. The flip is that after the sexual revolution, women said what? Presenting yourself as wife material is a bad thing. Yes, they said that's a bad thing. You are what? A Miss Goody Two Shoes. Boom. I know y'all heard that phrase. Miss Goody Two Shoes. She's a Miss Goody Two Shoes. I seen a video once, and I don't. It was a viral video where this black woman was talking about how they going on a girls trip. We all know girls trip. We all know what happens on girls night out and girls trip and bachelorette parties. We all know, ladies, that the cat's out of the bag. We know what happens in Vegas, Cancun. We know what happens right down the street. The corner bar. We know what's going on. We know the pattern. Go look at my video called The Pattern. Men know that now. But this black woman was once again on TikTok. Shout out to the TikTok girl. She said, let me tell y'all something. She was talking about a girl trip that she was going on. One of her friends, all of them were married, by the way. They were all married. All of them were married over the age of 30, right? 30, they were all 30 plus. And she said, we going on a girls trip. I don't know where they were going, somewhere in the Caribbean, maybe Jamaica. I don't know. I don't even know if it was Jamaica, but it might have been. And she said, we going on this girl trip, and one of my girlfriends was talking about she just want to go out and have good clean fun. She just want to go, snorkeling and skydiving and take up the tourism spot. Some of y'all see where I'm going with this. And you can look this up. This actually happened about maybe 4 years ago, I think. And that girl was pissed. She said, no, let me tell you. She was talking about what she told her. She said, I told her, let me tell you something. We going on a girls trip. Okay, I'm going to get my back blown out. She getting her back blown out. And you getting your back blown out. We all getting our back blown out. Or you not going on the trip with us. She said it just like that. And I don't know if they ever went on a trip because I never caught part two to that. But she was basically telling women that if you going on a girls trip, she was basically trying to tell women, if we going on girl trips, everybody got to get their back blown out. Everybody got to get blown out. It ain't gonna be no one. I got a boyfriend. I really don't want to do that. See what I'm saying? That's the purpose of a girl trip. And I kind of agree with her. I kind of say, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm not saying I agree with her cheating on her husband. I'm not saying that. But I understand the logic. It's the same logic as bank robbers or dope boys. Shout out to the trap boys. Meaning you're not going to be hanging around us and we trapping. You feel me? And you talking about, well, I ain't doing none of that, but I want to hang around with y'all. No, it don't work that way. It don't work that way. As y'all know, I used to sell dope. And my brother brought me in the same way. We selling this. You hold the gun, I'm holding the work. We all doing it. You get what I'm saying? There ain't no you not getting in this. You in it or you not. If you not in it, you better get the fuck away. And I had my brother's back. Shout out to my brother. So I kind of understood what she was saying. She was saying, well, we all going on a girls trip. We all going on that girls trip. We all married and we all going. And I get it. You're not gonna be able to come back and hold yourself up as what? A Miss Goody Two Shoes. See, they flipped it. They flipped. You see how they flipped it? Before the sexual revolution, being wife material, being a Miss Goody Two Shoes, being a good girl. What is a good girl according to my definition? A virgin bride. Only a woman who's a virgin bride can call herself a good girl, a trap based conservative woman. That's the only woman who can do it. If a woman's had sex one time outside the institution of marriage, she's not trash, she's not base, she's not conservative. Period. That's code. She cannot call herself a good girl. See, they flipped it. They put a negative on being a good girl. They put a negative on being wife material, let alone being a wife. Do I even need to explain that one? We got a record number of women right now. They are not single by choice. They tried to flip that. They try to say that these women are empowered, boss chicks, and marriage is beneath them. No, these women are being rejected from the institution by the men. There's been numerous studies. People have showed them that this idea that women are liberated from the institution of marriage. No, they're not taking it as they're liberated. They're taking it as what? Shin Yu. Look that word up. That's the Chinese word for what? Leftover woman. Shout out to the late great Kevin Salmon. He talked about that. I think Kevin Simon did a video. He said, if you're a 30-year-old woman and you're not married, you are a leftover woman. He's absolutely right. And the idea that these women are 30 plus and they're not married, they're trying to flip. They're trying to flip it. They're trying to say that, well, just because you're not married don't mean you did something wrong. No, that means you're now liberated. See? Now you're liberated. You can go more in your career. You can keep climbing that corporate ladder. See? You can show these men that you can work 70, 80 hours a week and do the job just like them. See? You don't need that family holding you back and holding you down. Matter of fact, come freeze your eggs. My God, help us. Come freeze your eggs when you're 30 years old. Keep working for us. You don't need no family. I know you've been in the streets all your life. You don't need to get out of the streets. You are a liberated street woman. That whole institution of marriage and that family, you don't need none of that because you are greater than your biology. You can fight what your natural biology is telling you to do. Boom! And we got a record number of women on SSRIs. We have record cases of women getting DUIs. They drinking themselves to sleep every night. Yeah, you can fight your biology. You can fight that urge to nest. Look up something where women start nesting when they do something called nesting. Look that up. Yeah, you can fight nesting. You can fight the biological clock. You can fight your will to reproduce, which all human beings are going to have. You can fight that as long as you stay drunk on SSRIs. Have you noticed that almost every gas station now. I noticed this about a month ago. When you go in gas stations now, they got a big box of champagne right behind the register. I was like, why am I seeing? And I asked the lady, I said, why are y'all putting champagne behind the register? Is people stealing or something? She was like, no, 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 no. And she looked around. You know how when somebody gonna tell you something they're not supposed to say it? She said, no, this is for the women. And I said, what? She said, yeah, they want to grab it quick and go out fast. I was like, oh, okay. So they put it up front at the register. The flip, y'all, the flip. They flipped it. They're trying to flip it now. They're trying to get women to buy into the last flip so they can exploit them. That's exactly what's going on. See, they flip being wife material when they're young. You don't want to be that. That's oppressive. No, 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 no. And they flip being a virgin bride as something positive. No, that's oppressive. Purity culture. Don't look into none of that. And they flip modesty. Well, you don't want to be modest. Look, go outside, just show all the wop. I mean, hey, if men look at you like a sex object, there's something wrong with men. Ain't nothing wrong with you. Isn't that what the slut walk is about? Go check that out with Amber Rose, right? We gonna reclaim the word slut. Slut ain't nothing wrong with being a slut. That's the flip. You see, that's flipping. See? So the wife material, the flip, that's what they flip. They flip that definition. They flip that meaning. And now with this push to modesty, they really going overtime on it. Hey, we gotta flip modesty. Modesty don't mean nothing respectable. That means oppression. And they've been saying that about what? Islamic women for years. Shout out to my Muslims. I seen this one chick, I'm not gonna say her name, but she's on YouTube and she's a real popular Muslim. And when I was doing my research during COVID crap, that was one of the ones I was listening to. And I was going on JSTOR and I was going on Ibisco and all these other websites. And she really was helping me out because she really gave me something I needed to hear. She was like, Americans really think that everybody wants their customs, let alone the religion. You get what I'm saying? She was like, she was focusing on the customs. She's like, Americans really think that women overseas value their idea and their customs when it comes to women. And this woman was covered. She's, in traditional Muslim garb, covered, and she said, us Islamic women, we look at American women, and she just said this. She said it. She said, we look at them like street trash. And I was like, whoa. I said, what? This is when I was doing all this research. Because I was expecting her to say, we look at American women as free, as liberating, as empowered. Those are the words that the media always says. And she said, no, we don't see it as that. We see them as street trash, as prostitutes, as sex workers. We can't tell who's a sex worker, who's not, because in those countries, it's pretty clear who's wife and who. They still have the Madonna whore system set up. You see what I'm saying? They still have that set up. And she said, when I look at American women, I can't tell who's who and what's what. She said, we find it interesting, but not interesting like we want to do it. We find it fascinating that men are fighting over women who look like whores. I was like, damn. And she was serious. When someone talking and they're not trying to, they're not trying to make a joke. This woman was smack dead serious. She was like, I don't understand. She's like, I don't understand. You're fighting over, the men are fighting over women that we don't even, our men would never consider these women to be wives, and that's when it was, I really didn't put it together, but that's when I was starting to get it. I was like, okay, this woman is saying something. You see what I'm saying? Rules and regulations. Madonna whore, rules and regulations. So it was just popping off at me. But they don't see modesty. They haven't been flipped. They don't see modesty as oppression. But the women over here, they've been flipped. They flipped it. So they're seeing this modesty push as oppression. It's been flipped. See? So that's the first thing that got flipped. Let's talk about husband material. Now, this is a big one. I just told you, Jack and Jill. Jill had to present herself as wife material, and they flipped that. That's now oppressive. That's bad. That ain't no good. And now, husband material, that's a bad thing. And I'll prove it. Because now men have been taught something, and it's true. Women don't like that this truth came out, but it came out about maybe 3 years ago, maybe two, where there was another push, and it was on, our lovely TikTok girls, but it was also in the news media, New York Times and all that. And they were saying that a lot of men now find being called husband material as an insult. See how it went? Before the sexual revolution, if a man was called husband material, that man was given top prize, top dog. Hey, give that man a chair. Hey, he got first dibs. He got first choice of women. That's what it was. Some of y'all see where I'm going with that. I'm gonna say that again. Before the sexual revolution, if a man was called husband material, he got what? First choice, first dibs, first option. He was what? The first one. Alpha, the first one. But after the sexual revolution, if he's called husband material, right? It sounds good, right? It sounds good, right? Because a lot of women say, oh, Jack, boy, he is such husband material. Right? Now, on surface, you would say, well, Alpha, nothing changed. I mean, the women are saying he's husband material. So they smiling when they saying that, right? That's what it looks like. It looks like nothing flipped. But you gotta look a little different. Some of my old listeners know what I'm talking about. What did I say before the sexual revolution? If you were husband material, what did you get? Before the sexual revolution, what did you get? You were what? You were the first one. Boom. Yeah, you were the first man. Why? Because Jill was what? Wife material. And wife material was what? A virgin bride. Boom. Absolutely. After the sexual revolution, they flipped it. See? Some of y'all see where I'm going with this. Now, when Jill say, "Oh, Jack is such husband material," right? He's such a nice guy. He's such a good guy. I know some people out there say, "Alpha, you ain't no good." Some of y'all saying that ain't right, man. And some of y'all ladies laughing with me too, like, damn. Now, how many of y'all know when a woman say that to a man, that's not a good thing nowadays. That's not. Let's not sit up here and cap and lie and say some politically correct crap. When a woman says Jack is husband material, now what is Jack getting? Well, let's say what he not getting. He ain't gonna be the first one. Boom. We all know that. He is not gonna be the first man. Yeah. That's why men find it offensive now. That's why when a man is called husband material now in our current society, that man knows he's cooked. Boom. A lot of women are upset over that. A lot of them are. They've been working overtime trying to do what? Put men back in the box. No, no, I don't mean it like that. I heard one woman trying to say that. Then we have wives saying that to their husband. That's causing divorces. Yeah. Because what does Jack knows now? And this is brutal. This is brutal. Jack knows that the men who are labeled husband material, what are they getting? Leftovers, blown out street meat. Boom. That's right. He's getting a blown out woman. God knows how many men this woman has been with. She might done some OnlyFans or some amateur porn. She's most definitely on someone's Metro Razor phone. If she's a millennial woman, she's on somebody's Razor phone. Remember them phones back in the days? Yeah. And when Jack hears that, he is like, oh my God. He's thinking, what? Get the hell out of here. I'm not taking that deal. Boom. The flip. See? It flipped. For the sexual revolution, you told Jack he was husband material. Stick his chest out, smile, stick his chin up. That's right. I'm the man. That's what he would do. It was a compliment. And he was rewarded for being husband material. He was. After the sexual revolution, tell Jack he's husband material. He's getting Alpha the first one, Chad, Tyrone, Pookie, and Ray Ray's leftovers. Boom. And he knows that's a bad deal. All the statistics support that. See, the flip. It flipped. And see, now what women are trying to do is they're trying to get the men to see wife material as a bad thing. See, I told you, women flipped it on each other. Men never did that. See how it worked? Inverse. Husband material now is a negative for men. Wife material now for women is still positive if a man says it. See how it works? If a man says, man, that girl's wife material, that's a good thing. But our lovely TikTok girls, they trying to flip that. See? They're trying to tell men, well, you're only looking for husband material women because you're insecure and you're oppressive. And you're stuck in the past. And you need to get with the times. Translation, you need to take this bad deal. Translation, don't look for a good deal. Come on now. What's wrong with you? Are you slow? You better take this bad deal while you can. Because it ain't going to get no better for you. That's what they're saying. But it's not working. It's not working. Why? Because men cannot suppress their biology. Boom. See, I told you, women been drinking themselves to death, taking SRIs, looking at propaganda movie, trying to do what? Suppress their biology. The world will not allow men to suppress their biology. We can't do it, ladies. Our biology tells us what? We are the stronger sex. Period. Our biology tells us what? You don't have it, the world ain't going to feel sorry for you. Our biology tells us what? Get off your ass, bust your back, make it happen. Our biology tells us what? Yeah, we say we want house husbands, but at the end of the day, the bills don't get paid. We still gonna blame you. Why? Because your biology says you're a man. See, they try to say that's patriarchy. That's bullshit. No, it's biology. The one thing that they all trying to run from. And what is biology? Mother Nature. Mother Nature and Father Time. Boom. Mother Nature's an angry, old, mean bitch. And all women know that. I did a story on that, a video on that. Mother Nature gives it. Father Time is the repo man. Mother Nature gives you the gifts. Father Time come back and collect them. Mother Nature is a deceiving, conniving woman. She don't tell you that those gifts are what? They got to be returned. All that beauty you got to be returned. That ability to have children got to be returned. That youthful energy that you can stay up for 5 days and don't eat nothing, women. You know women do that too. That's got to come back. They got to come back, ladies. I want them back. I want them back now. Because I'm Mother Nature. I got to deal with this old bastard called Father Time. Father Time saying what? Screw her. Okay, I hate this woman. I can't stand this woman. This woman, she's just so nasty. Why she keep doing this to these women? Why don't she tell these women that she's giving them something that I gotta come take back? I'm gonna come take that beauty. Yes, I'm gonna take your hair and leave you with gray hair. You get it? I'm gonna take those nice lovely eyes and leave you with crow's feet. Do you get it? Yes, those tits, they popped up now. You don't need a push-up bra. When I come, I guarantee you gonna need 2 or 3 of them. That butt gonna sag. That skin gonna wrinkle. Yeah, that thing called menopause, that's what I leave you when I take it from you. That's Father Time. And he's undefeated. He can't be defeated. I'm Father Time. I've been doing this for years. I drive that old Ford 350 Super Duty 7.3 IDL, best diesel engine ever made, okay? It's going to crank up in all conditions. Hot, rain, cold, sleet. Guess what? When your bill is up around 27 to 30, I'm coming to get it, ladies. I'm undefeated. I am the wall. Who you think's running the wall? It's Father Time. He's the manager of the wall, the train station, whatever you want to call it. He's the one that built the wall. So why? So he can get you in repo all the stuff Mother Nature gave you. Boom! Ain't he slick? Mother Nature gave it to you. He built the wall so when you hit into it, he can take all those gifts right back. The flip. The flip, y'all. The flip. They flipped it. Husband material was a good thing before the sexual revolution. Now it's a bad thing. Wife material was a good thing before the sexual revolution. It's still a good thing for men, but the women been told it's a bad thing now. They've been flipped in their mind. So our lovely TikTok girls, they have serious concern. I understand what they're saying. They're saying if this stuff is not stopped now, we are in trouble. Why? Because we might end up in what? A regulated dating system. Boom. We might lose our agency. That's what the women are saying on TikTok. I heard this on the CEO, Diary of the CEO. Shout out to that brother. He had a lady called the Guilty Feminist, another lady called Louise Perry, and then he had another psychologist. Louise Perry and the psychologist, they are mothers. They have children. The Guilty Feminist has no children. She will never have children unless she adopt children, and that's not having children. Period. It is what it is. That's called cuckoldry. Period. She is never going to have biological children. She said that. She said she's as barren as a wasteland. That's her words, not mine. On that episode, the Guilty Feminist was talking about this push. She was talking about all this stuff, modesty and one house vote and all kinds of things. And she looked Louise Perry in the eye, and she looked at the psychologist in the eye. And she said, we have got to come together. She said, right now, everybody is blaming these conditions on feminism. She said, I see where this is going. I'm not going back. That's what she said. She said, join me, come together, come with me, and let's work to try to solve these and not get rid of feminism. That's what she was saying. And Perry and that psychologist was looking at her saying, "You are completely out of your mind." You know why they were looking at her like that? Because they had children and she did not. Boom. Every woman listening to my voice know what I'm talking about. And I've already did a video on it, call it what? The new fake Victorian women era. It's coming. This is what's part of that fake Victorian women era. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I've already said I don't like it. I do not like these fake Victorian women. I can't stand them. But I see where it's going. I see where it's going. I get it. Now, don't hold your breath. I did a video called Don't Hold Your Breath. It's not going to happen in our lifetime, but all these little movements are going to add up. I just don't like these fake Victorian women trying to present themselves as traditional when they're not. Our job as men to say, no, 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 no. You're not going to present yourself as some trad-based conservative woman. Traditional starts with virginity. Boom. Period. We're not gonna put on sundresses, put out a Bible and say we're traditional while we're 27 and older and try to shame other women who done all the stuff we did. We as men gotta say, no, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. I appreciate the gesture, but that's not good enough. That's not what us men are looking for. We're looking for the real Miss Goody Two Shoes. We're looking for the true trad-based conservative women. We're looking for the woman who needs to rise from the ashes, which is what? A true trad-based conservative woman is a virgin bride, the true good girl. That's what we as men got to do. Now, unfortunately, on this day, I don't know if we are ready to say that. We got men online saying, be scared of virgins. I mean, I'm hearing all kinds of stuff. So that's why I say don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. But I detest the idea of fake traditional women trying to set up some kind of pseudo fake standard. I detest that idea. No, if we're going to go all the way, we're going to go all the way. Which means what? We're going to close the slut void. Look up my video. I talked about the slut void. We're going to close that. Yeah, we're not going to do the in-between woman no more. No, it's going to be set up how Sigmund Freud theorized it, which makes sense. You're going to be either Madonna or you're going to be a sex worker. Doesn't make a bit of difference to me what you choose to be. But we're going to cut out that middle one. See, right now we got a big gap in society. We got what? A whole bunch of sluts. That's what we have. If YouTube going to ban me, they need to do it now because I can't dumb this down. This is a very serious concept. 3 types of women. Good girl, traditional based, trad, virgin, bride. That's it. Second woman, sex worker, prostitute, honest woman, purse first, ass last, sugar baby. All right. The last woman is what? The modern woman. Not a virgin bride, but not a prostitute. That is a slut. That's a word, Slavic word. You can look up the definition. I've talked about the etymology of that word. I've talked about where it comes from the 15th, 16th century, migrated over to the Victorian era, migrated over to America. We have multiple women made music songs about the word slut. If AI is going to ban me, I can't dumb it down. I'm not going to do it anymore. Period. 3 types of women. Good girl, prostitute, slut. That's what we have. And in our society right now, we have a society full of sluts. My mama's a slut, my sister's a slut, my auntie's a slut, my grandma was a slut. You understand? So if I'm willing to call all women slut, I'm willing to call my own family a slut. And if my daughter, if I ever have one, if she has sex outside the institution of marriage one time, okay, that makes her a slut. Period. You get it? Period. I want to make that very clear on this channel. This is a concept that I'm talking about, that I wrote about. Period. So for the TikTok girls, don't sweat. You can chill out. Ain't nothing gonna change. It's just stuff online to get clicks and views and rage bait. That's all it is. All right? We're not going to some SPG. We're not going to regulated society overnight because of some TikTok videos. It'll be a movement today, gone tomorrow. So don't worry about it, TikTok girls. Nobody's not going to require you to start covering up. You can forget that. Plenty of women walking out of the house. Some of them listening to me right now. They gonna say Alpha's funny as hell, and then tomorrow morning they gonna walk out with a G-string on and a mini skirt, and like nothing ever happened. It's gonna happen. Understand? Nothing's gonna change. Don't hold your breath. It took us 60 years to get into this mess. It might take us 100 to get out, if we get out. All right. So that's it, y'all. I want to talk about this because when you see these trends pop up, conservative push, trad wife push, modesty push, whatever they come up, it's all fake Victorian era symptoms. That's all it is. Fake Victorian era symptoms is the trad wife movement. Fake Victorian era symptoms is the modesty movement. Fake Victorian era symptoms is them talking about where we're somehow moving back to conservative. No, they're not. They're not moving back to conservative. They're not moving back to traditional, and especially the anti-feminists. That is the biggest fake tradcon, fake Victorian era women symptom I've ever seen in my life. If you hear any woman who say I was a former feminist, now I'm anti-feminist, or there was a feminist conspiracy, you're talking to a fake Victorian era woman. She's a fake Victorian era woman. She's not a virgin bride. She's not traditional. She's not base. She's not conservative. She's a con woman, okay? That's all she's doing. She's trying to warm men up to take a bad deal. That's all it is. Period. That's all it is. All right? I wanted to come out to let the TikTok girls know, keep your panties down. Nothing's going to change. It's just online activity. All right, period. Yeah, they took away quote unquote baby deletion, but it's still in other states. All right, and if they did do a nationwide ban, that still wouldn't stop people from doing what? Being non-virgin brides. You get it? Women are still going to be non-virgin brides. It's going to happen. All right, it's a long process, a long process. All right, and I might talk about this on YouTube. I probably won't, because I do know a constitutional way that they could do it, but I'm not going to talk about it on YouTube. I'm going to probably talk about that on BitChute. All right, there is a constitutional way that they could bring in regulated dating and mating. And guess who I learned it from? Look up something called the 19th Amendment News. Yes, I learned it from them. I told y'all I'm a bad motherfucker. I'm a bad boy with research. Look up something called the 19th Amendment News. Wink, wink. It's all in that word called woman. That's all I'm going to say on that. 19th Amendment News. Look them up. And they are screaming the alarm way before the TikTok girls. This is offline. They yelling right now, we don't have enough constitutional protection. That's what they're saying. Look up something called the 19th Amendment News. They are saying they don't have enough constitutional protection. I might get into that on BitChute, but not on this one. All right, y'all. I got to get out of here. That was me talking about husband material versus wife material. The flip. Yes, they flip those words. They flip the meaning. They flip the value of those words. Now, if you're a man, if she's calling you husband material, you are getting blown out street meat. It is what it is. You're not getting a trad-based conservative woman. She's lining you up, warming you up to do what? Take a bad deal. You're going to take a bad deal. Don't do that. All right, run. She call you husband material, get the hell out of there as fast as possible. Ladies, if you are being called wife material by a man, that is a good thing. All right, that is a good thing. That doesn't mean you are. Because you might find you a sucker, Russell Wilson or something like that. But I'm just giving you a little inside tip. If a man is saying, man, you really is like wife material, that's a good thing, ladies. You probably got him on the hook. There you go. See, I gave you a little inside tip. Don't believe your female friend saying that wife material being called a Miss Goody two shoot is a bad thing. They flip that meaning. That's a good thing for you. All right, so let me get out of here, y'all. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the graveyard shift. Shout out to the people on the overnight. Shout out to the people on the ICU, ICU nurses, ICU doctors. I do see y'all. I'll never forget about y'all. And for everybody else I forgot, and all my trolls, peace.